welcome. How are you, Edgar?
Fantastic. And yourself?
Pretty good. It's been a busy week. Well, last week was really busy because I was teaching a CCP course. Now I'm playing catch up. You having a productive week?
Yeah, man. I just came back off a site, so we just did an assessment, and we had to do the physical portion of it. So that was
Oh,
pretty intriguing.
okay. Exciting. A lot of good stuff you think you did.
Yeah. It's good putting a face to what we actually talk about hypothetically. So I really like that.
Now, you said on-site is for your company you're doing that for?
No, for a client.
Oh, for a client. Okay. Okay. Understood. Cool. I guess that's a good place to start. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. How'd you get into the CMMC world?
Originally, I started off as an automotive engineer, so
Okay.
I nowhere even near this field. Closest I came to it was my older cousin and my younger cousin. They were techs. So we'll have like basement powwows, roundtables, and we'll just share information between the two or between the three of us. And then from there, I started building out VPNs because we was doing that whole torrent era of getting music.
Yeah, I remember those days. Good old days.
Now everything's free, so we don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
Security, I always had like a backing for it because like when I was at the dealership, we was doing the patching, we was doing the assessments, the new car inventory. It was around that time, like 2010, where Toyota had the recalls and we had to do the updates and configurations for it. And I'm a puzzler, so I always put two and two together. I met a director at the time for one of the big banks, good friend of mine
Yes.
now and mentor. And I passed a comment to him and he knew what I was talking about. So he started coaching me along there and guided me into the path that I am in now.
Wow. That's really cool. You never know where life's going to take you, which road. Just being flexible and open-minded and pursuing those opportunities as they come. That's pretty cool. I'm curious as far as what skills have you noticed that that were transferable from your work as an automotive engineer?
All of them.
And just all
Uh,
of them. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the biggest one is
Yes.
problem solving
Mhm.
because there's two things you can't fake in the automotive industry. The car comes in broke and it has to be fixed. It has to leave fixed. So in IT, I took the same perspective. It has to be fixed. It came in broke. It had a problem. Let's diagnose it. Let's ask the questions. The who, what, when, why, and how always played a big key. So let's say customer service also was a big thing because if I can talk tech to you, I can talk mechanic to somebody, and if they don't understand it, it'll go right over their heads.
Right. Being able to translate it into plain
Yeah.
English where someone can understand. I love that. And that's something that when people are looking to transition into cybersecurity, I always tell them what skills are it and look at the skills that you have already that likely do transfer over. But don't feel like you're
Mhm.
starting from scratch. Likely you have some transferable skills
Yep.
that you can bring to the table. I like that analogy. It comes in broke. We have to fix it. You can't
That's right.
fake that. That's true.
In our everyday lives, we have processes, we have procedures that we go by. So, like when you're doing a new car inspection, you have a checklist, you have a log, you have to sign off on it. Same thing when you're doing inventorying or an assessment for GRC. You have guidelines that you have to go by that you have to reference to, and then you have your policies, your procedures, and your standards. So all of it is transferable, but now can you put two and two together? That's where the difficulties come in.
Yeah. Yeah. How long have you been working in cybersecurity now?
Since 2018. So gone, what, 6, 7 years now?
All right. So you're a vet in the game now.
I'll be honest, I don't remember everything. So just like driving, I'll do like little milestones. So like, let's say if you say something about a domain family, I would tie it to an experience or a memory that I had that particular situation. And then I'll be able to draw upon that. That's how I'm able to condense that information.
I like it. And it's a lot of information. No one remembers it all. Especially if you're not actively working, handling
Yep.
that domain on a regular basis, or you'll forget. Or what you did know will be stale, no longer relevant.
Yes.
Yeah. Indeed. What is your current role? Tell us more about that.
I'm a business information security officer for Compliancy. So go through assessments for SOC 2, CMMC, and basically convert the information that's in NIST, in HIPAA, in SOX over into something digestible, and do the physical assessments, and basically walk companies through what they have to do to get compliant.
I was a BISO at Hewlett Packard Enterprise way back in like 2016. It's a cool role because you touch a lot, and you, well, I said I'd be the subject matter expert in all those areas, but you're pretty much connecting the dots for that client and guiding them in the right direction, providing that oversight and governance. What would you say you like most about the role?
No day is ever the same. Like I said, I'm a puzzler. Some people may call me a tin hat person, but I like to see all the views of it. And the interaction with the people, to be more direct. Because trying to see how they configure their environment and then tailoring their environment to the actual standard, that's where the creativity comes in, and seeing what was behind it.
Indeed. So it takes some creativity, thinking outside the box. And no client organization is the same. Every organization has unique challenges and nuances. Keep you on your toes. You first came on my radar doing the mock assessments, with you already being in the field and you're already getting hands-on experience every day. What about the mock assessments appeal to you?
Problem solving again. To go back to how I got into cybersecurity, to answer this correctly, I had to get CUI certified for a particular client. And we had a handful of predecessors that tried. They didn't understand the NIST framework. And I had to reach out to a particular retired agent to actually teach me and guide me into what needs to be done. So we did full NIST 800-171 alpha, and we touched every part of the domain, from conception of the governance all the way down to implementation of the evidence and gathering of the evidence to get our ATO. So when I see an assessment, I enjoy that feeling. It gives me that dopamine rush of understanding the environment, reading through the paperwork, implementing the paperwork, and then seeing how the artifacts come into fruition, and seeing that this business just accomplished something that is a huge milestone.
Certainly, CMMC is very disruptive, and in a good way, I think, where they're breaking the status quo within the federal government and requiring that independent verification with those CMMC Level 2 certification assessments. I think that is a good thing, and really exciting to be involved in it at this phase. We're basically getting in at the ground level. What I find really impressive about you and what you just mentioned is that you're just always looking for ways to learn and continuously hone your skills. That is so important. And going back to the mock assessments, you basically participated first as an assessor 1 week, and then the next week you signed back up and you participated as OSA. So yeah, you're getting those reps in. That's really what I try to encourage people to do. That was my vision behind doing the mock assessments, because it can really simulate what it's really like. It's hard for at this point to really get that official hands-on experience. There's not a lot of assessments going on right now, but who says we can't do mock assessments? And let's actually work through this. And when those real assessments do come, whether you are the organization doing the self-assessment or you're an assessor, you're going to be better off because you at least have some simulated experiences. Right? Being prior military, we did a lot of field training and exercises to be ready for war. Once we get deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and those places, this isn't our first time in terms of simulating what's it going to be like. Definitely applaud you. Jumping right in. Hey, you give me more. I love that.
I'll be honest, that was one of the biggest things also, because that understanding of what will be asked and what should be provided, I believe in going that little bit of an extra mile to make sure that it gets done correctly and that you don't generate extra questions or extra concern, because we could build the perfect environment. Let me reiterate that. You could pay somebody to build the perfect environment. Right. But then when you're sitting in front of the assessor and you don't know what you're talking about, or the auditor and you don't know what you're talking about, now you became the biggest risk.
Right. To your point, the assessor is going to be able to sniff that out. That's going to be obvious. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't fake it again. Go back to your saying.
Going back to industry. You can't fake fixing the car. You can't fake fixing the computer.
Absolutely. What would you say, in your experience, in the context of CMMC and just compliance frameworks, that are some of the biggest challenges you see organizations struggling with?
Understanding of the controls. Because one particular word can mean so many different variations to other different people and their interpretations. So when you digest a control, you have to take it in the context of that one small bite to eat the whole elephant instead of trying to implement the whole thing. Because it can have you running down a rabbit hole, the next thing you know, you traveled 100 miles in the wrong direction.
Man, unfortunately, I see that too often, and the result of that, you're expending resources you likely don't have, money, time. You're frustrating your team. I used to do third-party risk assessments for Bank of America prior to starting Aspire Cyber. We'd do like a kickoff call with the vendors. I did the kickoff call like a Friday, and then that Monday, I was notified that the person I did the kickoff call with, they resigned that week. And then especially sounds because of the assessment, but I think that played a role because you imagine, especially in small organizations, people wearing multiple hats, and then let's say senior leadership tells the IT guy or gal, all right, get us CMMC compliant, and just putting all that on there, just a level of stress and anxiety in there. Like I say, just go 100 miles in the wrong direction without the right guidance.
Hey, I've been down that road. I've been voluntold on a Friday, this is your project here.
Man.
You need to get it done. So start
I've been
on Monday.
there. Yeah, it's tough. And that's some of my hope senior leaders start giving more consideration to, especially with CMMC. Once you get that level 2, level 3, that's a beat. Just put that on one person or just expect, because it's not an IT problem, it's the entire organization.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that can cause some, increase your resignations or your turnover real quick.
PTSD started kicking in. Like you're the only person left. Like, how did I end up on this road right now? Like, what did I do in my past life to deserve this?
Like life's too short. For real.
I could say edification for leadership. For instance, like when we did the last one where we was the OSCs, and you had to educate leadership for them to understand what was going on and the ramifications if this doesn't happen. So over my short tenure, I've learned that there's multiple different languages being spoken, even though it's English. So learning the business, learning IT, learning documentation, learning financial, learning legal, and then conforming all those different languages all into one develops a new hat for you. And that's the approach that we should take into consideration and develop when we're taking on these type of projects and speaking to leadership, speaking to management, speaking to technicians, because verbiage means a lot. And it can mean going back to the policy. One particular word can change your whole perspective. What is critical versus what's important. What's important may not be critical.
Yeah, definitely have to prioritize. You can't teach everything is critical. That's going to get really costly and sustainable long term.
And that's when they get scared, because they're saying this is critical. If this computer goes down, we won't be able to run 2 machines. But what does critical mean to the business? Completely shut down. If you lose network to the business, that's critical. So your ISP, your modems, your firewalls, your switches, that's critical to your infrastructure. But a standalone machinery, no, we could probably route those other sources somewhere else. And then you could probably grow from there, or develop or transfer it over to a different site, have some type of failover, which we should have failovers anyway.
Right. That's definitely some golden nuggets you dropped there. And I love what you mentioned about, we're speaking English, there's different, essentially, dialects of versions of it, essentially, where in the context of compliance, breaking it down, the documentation, implementation, and so forth. Just think about other languages, let's say India, for example, or China. They're going to have so many different dialects within that same language. And same way with cybersecurity, like you said, we're all speaking English, but we're all talking past each other, and we're not on the same page. That's critical. I would say that is probably one of the most valuable skills I developed in the BISO role, and clearly you have, is being able to translate and understanding the importance of communication. Because within IT, a lot of times tech people, they just want to talk tech talk. They don't care about trying to translate, or they're not trying to be bothered with that. But it is so crucial.
I believe that's the misconception of leadership, because as a tech, I look at leadership like, hey, you got into this role, you should know what I'm talking about. If you don't, how did you get there? But they're not understanding the demographics of this person here is to guide us. They see the bigger picture. They see everything. They correlate everything together.
Right.
So I'm not going to understand the language. So when I speak with a manager, or I speak with a director or VP, and they don't understand why a particular control needs to be put in place, that's my role right there, to educate them.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
explain the risk, explain the ramifications, explain the benefits.
Right.
And if they want to accept the risk or implement it or not, that's on them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we say in the military, that's all my pay grades. I educated you. I let you know, did my part.
Hey, I remember like the first project I was on, I had to tell leadership, like, hey, you go to jail, you go to jail, you go to jail. They know I don't have any money, so they want to find me money. They want to keep me out in the open to make sure I pay those fines. They know y'all have it, not me.
I feel you. A little more about your background. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in New York City. I was born in Central America, Panama. My dad was from Virginia, so I was born on a Navy base. And then from there, we went to New York City, and literally, I was surrounded my whole life by mechanics. My uncles were mechanics, my cousins were mechanics. So lo and behold, I was supposed to be a mechanic.
Yeah.
I went to Apex Technical for automotive engineering, and then I worked for my uncle David at his shop in East New York. Just transmissions, engines, race cars, and I know it was fun. We lived our best lives. Oh man, good times. Older sister, business controller. Let's put it like this: when we went to school, I didn't try to compete. Reason why, my sister always had the A's, no B's, nothing less than that.
Always. She set the bar high. Huh?
Yeah, captain of the cheerleading squad. I couldn't compete with that. I just had to be me. So at a young age, I decided I'm gonna be a Sigma. I'm gonna go do my own path, and I enjoyed it. I love being me. When I go into the office, I typically wear a graphic tee, some jeans, and some J's.
Nice.
And that's just me learning who I am.
That's very important. We can't change who we are, so it's a matter of ours finding what our strengths are and really riding those out. So you said you're a puzzler. You figured that out and where those skills would be valued in the marketplace. And certainly cybersecurity compliance is one of those areas in the right place. Now, in the grand scheme of things, having been in cybersecurity a long time, but serving in the BISO role, that is a high level position. What would you attribute some of the things you've done in your career to get to this level so soon?
Understanding all the variables. Going back to automotive, I can't fix a car unless I check all the points of the car that ties to that system. I took that problem solving into IT. Okay, ISP, firewall, switch, end user, wireless access point, ties to server from the switch, other things in the way, DMZs, other failovers, cloud, hybrid environments. Now I have to look at all the variables. If I don't know all the variables, I can't calculate appropriately. And that's when the questions start coming in, because now we have things that's not accounted for and it fails.
Yeah.
For instance, you put an engine together and you're missing a 10 millimeter bolt. You ever seen somebody stressed so bad? And then
it's a bad day of everybody.
man, you got to take everything back apart. And that it teaches you patience. It teaches you patience to understand, knowing all the variables, asking the right questions, and then coming at it from an objective perspective. It's not mine. It's not yours. It just needs to be done right, or done to the best of its abilities.
I would recommend that you can start recruiting other mechanics, because those skills that you bring are just invaluable, intangible for any career field with compliance. It's really invaluable skill set. And I just have no doubts you're going to continue to win in this career field. So,
but that depends though. The reason why, because like let's say, even though if somebody's an engineer, that doesn't mean they're going to be a good manager.
Yeah.
So they have to have that foresight or that third eye to see into that perspective and have an understanding and change. They have to be willing to change. Some people get complacent and just want to turn wrenches all their life.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is still kind of spotting that talent where, okay, you have all of the pieces that where you can really thrive in this career field. That's awesome. Well, Edgar, I really appreciate the time today. I'm happy I got a chance to collaborate with you on the mock assessments. I'm really happy I got a chance to know you a little better during this interview, and looking forward to collaborating with you on future projects.
Yes, same here. I really appreciate the opportunity. I really appreciate speaking out to me. I was watching your videos a while back without even knowing it was you.
All world out there. Yeah, definitely, especially with the CMMC, very small ecosystem. But yeah, I know you're going to do great things, and look forward to partnering with you.
Let's keep making cybersecurity fun. Keep shaking and baking.
Let's do it. Love it.
I'd like to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor, CMMC Proof, Compliance Acceleration System.
Are you feeling overwhelmed by the complex world of CMMC compliance? You're not alone. Small to mid-sized defense contractors are often swamped by the massive list of requirements, unsure of where to begin, lacking resources, and fearing assessment failure. But there's a solution. CMMC Proof, your compliance acceleration system. Unlike typical GRC tools, CMMC Proof breaks down the process into 5 easy-to-follow phases, guiding you through each step of your compliance journey. With everything you need in one place, from CMMC Level 1 and 2 requirements to evidence tracking and more, you'll never feel lost again. Get CMMC compliant faster and easier than ever before. Our system ensures nothing is missed, saving you time and effort. Built by CMMC certified assessors with decades of experience, CMMC Proof delivers real-world expertise and guidance you can trust. By the time your assessment comes, you won't just be ready, you'll be confident. Visit CMMCproof.com to start your 7-day free trial and accelerate your CMMC compliance today.
If you receive value from this episode, I invite you to subscribe and like so that you're the first to know when we release new episodes. Also, check out CMMCproof.com to learn more about the arsenal of resources that we provide to equip you to conquer CMMC. We'll see you next time.